It's a walk that few get to make, but one that bonds a brotherhood for life. The final steps to make sure everything is in line with the game plan. Tonight, in primetime fashion, Penn State makes the walk into a sea of red, looking to force rough waters while rocking the boat. The Unrivaled Pregame Show, live from the Shoe, starts now.
The first time these two teams have met.
Welcome to Columbus, partner. We get an opportunity to see speed.
Here we go.
Speed.
Yes.
And some more speed.
That's right.
What they're getting to is what everybody's been waiting.
Two of the great programs in college football.
This is setting a great classic.
This is a series that dates back to 1912.
Two of the great programs in college football.
This is what dreams are made of right here.
First deep. End zone.
Oh, my goodness.
Look at the two teams. Let's figure this out. Who's for real? Because it's strength on strength tonight.
Barkley down the sideline. Saquon Barkley was the opening kick.
And Dobbins lost it.
Be aggressive. You're on the road in Columbus. Take some chances.
In the corner.
What is the biggest factor in determining who wins this game?
Dirty Brown, touchdown!
They're going to rally around each other the same way that they have all season long, and they're going to go out there and battle.
Gets outside, touchdown! Nicky Lloyd,
They'll never catch you! Welcome to college football!
A fight is not a fight until there's resistance, till there's something to overcome.
Oh, you can just start feeling it, Bill, don't you?
Oh, you can feel it starting to build, can't you? Welcome into the Unrivaled Pregame Show, live from the Shoe. I'm your host, Mitch Gerber. Coming up on today's show, we'll preview the 37th all-time matchup between Penn State and Ohio State. We'll go one-on-one with offensive line coach Phil Trautwein, and we'll take a look at one of Penn State's top defensive playmakers so far in 2021. And, of course, it's not the Unrivaled Pregame Show without a little team arrival coverage. We'll have that for you just after 5:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Live look inside the Shoe as these two storied programs have quite the history together, as 3 of the last 5 matchups have been decided by 3 points or less. That says a whole lot about what these two programs have done over the course of the past couple of years. Weather looks like this. It's about 59 degrees here in Columbus, Ohio. 50% chance of rain during today's game. There has been spotty showers on and off with just a couple of rain droplets falling from the sky, as we'll have that coverage for you throughout today's pregame show. I know a lot of people are concerned about what the weather will look like in this matchup. We'll have that covered for you. Penn State and Ohio State. Let's flash back to 2011 rather, November 19th, when Penn State traveled to Columbus, Ohio to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Stephon Green ran for 2 touchdowns, and Penn State held Ohio State scoreless in the second half to walk away with a 20-14 victory. Green rushed for 93 yards on 16 carries, while quarterback Matt McGloin went 10 of 18. 8 yards. Anthony Farrow, who you saw there a moment ago, hit 2 field goals in this matchup. One from 43 yards, another from 46 to help Penn State come out on top inside the Shoe. We'll see if Penn State can do that today against the Ohio State Buckeyes, the 37th all-time meeting between these two storied programs. Once again, we welcome you to the Unrivaled Pregame Show live from the Shoe. As that noise you're hearing behind us right now is the marching band getting ready for this matchup between Penn State and Ohio State. But for more on this matchup, we caught up with offensive line coach Phil Trautwein at the team hotel on Friday. Checking in with offensive line coach Phil Trautwein ahead of Penn State and Ohio State. Coach, as you prepared for the Buckeyes this week, what was the biggest area of focus for your position unit specifically?
Just play physical. Go out there, play physical every play, tack, first and second level, and just do our job.
When it comes to Ohio State's defensive front, obviously it will be a physical matchup in the trenches. What challenges do they present?
They move. Linebackers come downhill. They're physical. So we just have to match that physicality and go out every play and just make sure that we do our job and we attack them every play, man.
A 7:30 p.m. kick. Obviously, that's a lot of time to be sitting around in the hotel and think through things mentally. But you, as a former player down at the University of Florida, how did you prepare for a game like this with a late kick?
I kind of use it as another, a little bit more time to prepare, to watch my opponent, to watch who I was going against. I used it as, my opportunity to just prepare and, get my body right, get my mind right. So I liked it. I like night games because I feel like you give yourself the best opportunity to play great.
Coach, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate offensive line coach Phil Trautwein catching up with us at the team hotel on Friday afternoon. I can tell you, just being around the team hotel today, it's a lot of downtime to sit there and think about this matchup. Go through your final P's and Q's, as they call them in the industry. That matchup will be this afternoon or this evening at 7:30 p.m. on ABC. And fans, don't forget to join us afterwards for the Unrivaled postgame show, as we'll have live coverage of Penn State's game against the Ohio State Buckeyes, and we'll visit with head coach James Franklin immediately following that contest. And if you're an avid viewer of the Unrivaled pregame show, you know dang well what's coming next right now. Don't forget to tune in every single week with the Unrivaled podcast, the official podcast of Penn State football. This week's episode takes a look back at some of the best of the best moments from the first half of season number 3 of the Unrivaled podcast. Subscribe today so you don't miss a single episode the rest of the season. We're going to take a sidestep from the action here inside the shoe as we continue to ramp you up for kickoff between Penn State and Ohio State. And we're going to go back to Happy Valley with the second member of our broadcast team, Brooke Stake, who has some insight into spooky season. Brooke?
Thanks, Mitch. On Wednesday, I had the chance to stop by Penn State Athletics' 12th annual trick-or-treat night, which was held at the All Sports Museum outside of Beaver Stadium. This was a great opportunity for kids to come and see their favorite Penn State student athletes in a full circle. We had all different teams there. Kids could go around in the circle and get free t-shirts. They had candy, they had snacks. It was definitely a great opportunity for these kids to see their favorite athletes, like I said. And my favorite part right here, you can see the Nittany Lion even came out wearing a taco costume. After kids were able to get their candy, they were able to get a picture with the lion after. That was my favorite costume of the night. We had a kid dress up as the actual Nittany Lion waving his ears. But overall, it was such a beautiful night, and it was great to see athletics put an event like this together again, being able to see kids get face-to-face interaction, trick-or-treating again, something that, they couldn't do last year. So seeing them being able to do this on such a good night was definitely great, and it was a great way to kick off Halloween weekend here in Happy Valley.
Well, I certainly hope that the Nittany Lion, dressed as the Nittany Lion, got to meet the actual Nittany Lion. Brooke, that's an awesome little story there. And like you said, good to see people back in costumes around this time of the season. Brooke, appreciate you joining us here on the Unrivaled pregame show. And for more, back in Happy Valley on what's going on around Penn State athletics, we turn it over to the third member of our broadcast team, Connor Griffin.
Thank you, Mitch. And speaking of Halloween, it's actually the Halloween match for women's volleyball right now. They're playing just inside Rec Hall. Last time I checked, it was tied 1 set apiece. We're now in the third set, or about to get into the third set, as you see the live shot right there. So if you see people in costume, it is because the Halloween match, of course, is today. Now, only a handful of home matches left this season for Penn State women's volleyball. So if you haven't been over to Rec Hall, definitely make sure that you get over there as their season quickly winds down. But one season that's just on the horizon is Penn State men's basketball. Of course, it is the first year for head coach Micah Shrewsbury, and he's really made an emphasis on getting out into the community. As you see right here, some visuals. This is the first ever Shrews Slamma Jamma, which was at East Halls. There's a new renovated court over by Finley Commons. Penn State men's basketball, the marketing team from Penn State Athletics, they really wanted to get out into the community, meet these fans. So they put together this whole event where they were giving out free pizza, free T-shirts, free posters. You see a half-court shot competition right there. They're playing knockout with the players. Overall, such a great event, again, to get out into the community. There was a huge turnout, ton of fun, and definitely Coach Shrewsbury was pleased with the turnout. We talked to him afterwards, just got a sense of how he was feeling about adjusting to the new role, and overall what it's like taking in this new town.
It's been fun. I'm trying to figure it out every single day, and I'm not going to be perfect. There's going to be mistakes, but they're learning mistakes, and they're not going to be without aggressive. They're not going to be passive mistakes. So we're going to try and put ourselves out there in the community as much as possible, because that's what we want to do. And I told these students that were here, I'm asking them to come to us and come to the BJC. But if we don't come to them and we don't come to their turf and show them how much we care, I think that'll help them come and meet us at our place too.
The BJC will be rocking this season, that is for sure. Penn State men's basketball, they kick off their season November 10th, but the day before, November 9th, Penn State women's basketball, they take on Long Island. Coach Giger and company, they're looking to ignite the pride once again this season. So definitely a lot to look forward to, specifically at the BJC in the coming weeks when it comes to Penn State athletics. But, of course, tonight, all eyes will be on Columbus as Penn State football takes on Ohio State. And to keep rolling with this trend of football, let's get back into our football coverage with the Ohio State game preview.
We can't control the past. We can control the future. Let's have a damn good practice today. I need great leadership from the players. I need great leadership from the staff. Making sure today we fly around. Make sure we leave the practice today feeling really good about what we're going to accomplish this Saturday. So everybody got good. Quick! Good, right good. There you go. First off, practice, good job. Our energy was good. We flew around, got a lot of stuff installed, got a lot of stuff corrected. Good job. Appreciate you guys. Let's get a break on Ellis.
Then on three. 1, 2, 3.
Well, the energy is good, as head coach James Franklin just alluded to during this week's practice schedule, ramping up for Penn State and Ohio State. You're getting a live look right now at one of the buses coming towards the shoe for this matchup between Penn State and Ohio State, which will kick off at 7:30 p.m. on ABC. We'll hear from the voice of the Nittany Lions coming up here once the team arrives, Steve Jones. We'll take a look at our players to watch and much more with this matchup. As you see the buses going past some cars, it's seasonably warm here, I guess you could say, about 50 degrees at this point in time, but tonight some of that rain still in the forecast, just about a 50% chance of some droplets expected come kickoff time. Now, one of Penn State's top defensive playmakers so far in 2021 is Derek Tangelo, as we had the opportunity to catch up with his position coach, John Scott, earlier this week to ask him what's made Tangelo so good in 2021.
Brown is back in the game at running back. Two tight ends, Ford and Barker. Barker's the wing right, two receivers far side.
Under pressure, and going down is Sikowski. The ball pops out. It is a fumble. It is scooped up by Briscoe.
Derek Tangelo picked up his first career forced fumble in a Penn State uniform this past week, and as number 54 continues to make noise up front. Mitch Gerber alongside defensive line coach John Scott. Coach, when you look at Derek, what's impressed you about the edge that he's played with this season?
Well, I'll tell you what, he plays with a veteran presence. You know, he's been through the fire, he's been through the war, so he plays with a calmness to him that you would expect out of a seasoned veteran like himself. But I think he's done a really nice job of being a leader for us. You know, he's gotten here and he's blended in well, and the guys have a lot of respect for him. So he's been really putting in the extra work to do those type of things, and for him to, some of this stuff to kind of start showing up for him, it's been huge.
Josh McCray, no chance. Derek Tangelo came through to make the stop.
How has he stepped up as a leader with the absence of P.J. Mustipher?
Well, he, you know, for one thing, he grabs the young guys. You know, we're sitting in the meeting room and, you know, I'm going over something, and, you know, he'll chime in and give his perspective on it to the young guys. So I'll break it down, and then he'll break it down even further, you know, just in, you know, D-lineman to D-lineman in terms of his experiences or things that they can pick up on. You know, he's kind of taken Kazai Zard and Amin Vanover and those young guys up under his wing, kind of like the big brother deal. And so that's been really special to see. So they watch him, you know, and they watch how he practices, they watch how he works, they watch how, you know, he comes out and gets the extra work all the time, and they watch that. And it's been fun to see those young guys learn from him.
Bob, you see how he stays on the upfield shoulder? That's what defenders are always taught. You got contained. You stay on the upfield shoulder.
Derek being a transfer from Duke, how did you see him acclimate himself to the playbook and the culture of Penn State football?
It's been incredible. You know, you never take anything for granted. And you just know, like, you never know when guys come in from different programs, you know, they have their expectations, but then you have the Penn State expectations and our culture here, and we work really hard here. And I know all places work really hard, but it's just different here, you know. The way our guys buy into the team first mentality. Derek came in and he just flowed right with that. Like he came in and you'd have thought Derek had been here 6 years, the way he just kind of integrated himself amongst his teammates. He earned the trust of his peers. He earned the trust of the coaches, the way he carries himself. And it's been great having him. I mean, it's been a very seamless transition. And I know sometimes that's not always the case, but it's been awesome having him here.
Well, it's certainly not the case for every single program, but with number 54, you see what he can do on the field, but off the field, he's a difference maker when it comes to the culture aspect, especially in the locker room. How have you seen his teammates gravitate towards his personality?
Well, if you've been around Derek for 2 seconds and you get to know him, first of all, he has a great personality. He likes to have fun. Derek likes to dance a little bit and sing, and you know, that's been fun being around. And I think the guys, you know, kind of clamor to that and kind of group to that a little bit. But he's just a great young man, and everybody wants to be around him. Great dude.
He'll be back at it as well as the rest of Penn State's defense this Saturday against Ohio State at 7:30 p.m.
Well, I appreciate John Scott joining us ahead of the Unrivaled Pregame show this week to take a look at what's made Derek Tangelo so good so far in 2021, as he will be an important asset for Penn State's defensive unit today up front, going up against one of the best fronts in all of college football with Ohio State. You're getting a live look at Team Arrival right there. All kinds of Penn State fans are already here waiting for the buses to come in for Team Arrival, which will happen in just a few moments. We showed you a live shot of the buses rolling past some houses here in Columbus, Ohio. We've tried to do that every single pregame show, both at home and on the road, just because this is the kind of access that you will not get anywhere else when it comes to kickoff, Penn State specifically. As we get a live look right there of the team buses rolling past. It looks like some dorms starting to get into more of the territory of a whole bunch of red, as Ohio State is doing a red out today, which will be interesting, similar to what the whiteout looks like, as you see the Team Arrival crowd right there. While we await them to roll up to the stadium, let's take a look at what's made some of the milestone watches so good to watch so far this season, starting with Sean Clifford. He's 121 yards shy of 6,500 career passing yards and 242 yards shy of 7,500 career total offensive yards. Linebacker Brandon Smith from the state of Virginia is just 5 tackles shy of 100 career tackles. Let's see if he can eclipse that mark today. And wide receiver Parker Washington, the Sugar Land, Texas native, is 137 yards shy of 1,000 career receiving yards. Earlier this week on the preview show, we caught up with the wide receiver to hear about what's made him so good so far this season and where he hopes to improve still moving forward. Parker, Coach was just talking a little bit, obviously, about turning the page and everything that entails. How have you guys, as a wide receiver unit, turned the page?
Oh, we just like we do every day, take it one day at a time and just look for the next opportunity, and that's in Columbus this weekend, and we're excited to make more plays.
All right, so here you are halfway through a little bit more than your second season here. So you work on your game all the time. So where do you know you're better than a year ago at this time?
Just how comfortable I am now, and being able to see the game slow down in front of me. That's the best feeling, and that's like what you want as a receiver, and I'm excited every day and every play.
You know, going off of that from a mental standpoint, this point in the season, there's obviously a grind to what you guys do in the college football landscape. How have you mentally gotten better when it comes to the grind of a football season?
Just being excited every day and just to come and play the game that we love to play. And I feel like that's fueled me every day and has helped me throughout this whole season.
What have you learned from Jahan Dotson in your time here?
Oh, it's just like I say every time, it's fun to play with Jahan, and it's just fun in the meeting rooms, fun on the field, and you learn so much seeing that he's an older guy and seeing how much he developed over the years, and it's exciting to see that every day as well.
So speaking of the meeting room, how do you guys challenge each other in that wide receiver position room?
Oh, it's competition no matter what, competing in everything you do, and no matter what we're doing, if we're watching film or running routes at practice, we're always trying to get better off each other and compete in that way and see who can run the best routes and stuff like that, make the best catches, anything.
That's wide receiver Parker Washington, who we caught up earlier this week with on Wednesday for the preview show. Now check out this shot right here. Going past some tailgates just outside of the shoe, as this is bus number 4. This shot brought to you by Caleb Tyler. Bear with us on some of this. It is cell phone, so we're going off of wireless coverage right now, but this is the route that Penn State is taking in to the shoe at this moment in time. It's 5:20 p.m. Eastern time. They're going to go towards the other side that you see right there near the video board. That's where their locker room is, which is exactly where we're set up. You see bus number 1, 2, and 3, 4 as well, pulling up to the shoe for this matchup between Penn State and Ohio State. Kickoff is set for 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler, and Holly Rowe will be on the call in this one, as Penn State fans have gotten accustomed to here in 2021, hearing their voices on these games. How about the arousal from the crowd right here? Penn State fans cheering on their home team crowd, or their home team, if you will. Penn State about to take on Ohio State. You'll see head coach James Franklin come off the bus. He'll do his pregame lap, as he does every single game, both home and away. Man, listen to that crowd right now. That's awesome. I don't know that of all the away games that Penn State's been greeted like that in 2021. That's pretty dang cool. There you see some of the players getting off the bus right now. That's Terry Smith, defensive coordinator Brett Pry walking right past you on the camera. You see Jay Takashi, head of equipment there. See some of the players now. There's Alice Brooks, head coach James Franklin in his suit and coat. Monica right by his side right there. This is unbelievable. Offensive coordinator right there, Mike Yursich. Tyler Elston walking by. There's the wide receivers coach for Penn State. There's Jaywan Sider, running backs coach for Penn State University. Kevin Thralko, who's the chief of staff for Penn State football. Chris Peterson, who is the strategic communications director for Penn State. All these individuals make up this Penn State football program, as you see them walking by on camera right now. This is awesome. This is like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade as some of the players walk into the stadium. You'll notice that most of them are wearing the new Saquon shoes that Saquon sent them as a gift for Penn State football only. Obviously got to rep Saquon when Saquon sends you a gift. See those shoes on them right there. You see special teams coordinator Joe Lorig walking past right there. Fred Hansard, Juice, all walking by right here. Now it's interesting, as they walk into the stadium, there are some of the players that are walking into the shoe, which they normally do on the road, but this time it happens to be right by their locker room. Literally just walk right up. They can go check it out, see what the shoe looks like for the first timers that have never been here, and for the vets at the same time that have been a part of this environment, all well what to expect in this matchup when it comes to this Ohio State crowd. Got about 100 of your brothers to be able to walk out on the field with, as we talked about off the top, walking out of that tunnel. It's a tunnel unlike any other in college football for the visiting team. You got to go out of the locker room, hook a right. This is exactly where they're going to hook a left right there, then past those metal detectors. They'll walk down in the tunnel, which leads to looks like we potentially lost a little bit of a hit right there. Sorry about that. There we are. So this is the Unrivaled Pregame show. That's exactly the camera that's walking by right now. What's up, viewers? So these players are walking by right now. They're going to take a look up at the shoe, and then they will come back towards the locker room that you see right there. So as Caleb Tyler brings this camera to you right now, these are the players walking up. They get a quick glance into the stadium. This is normal. This is exactly what they do both at home and on the road. And then they'll turn back towards the locker room, where they have to report to by, I believe, about 5:25, 5:30, somewhere in there, to start getting ready for this matchup. What a cool view right there. Some of the players standing in the stands, taking it in. Some take pictures. Bottom line is, this is one of those moments that you sign up for to come to Penn State University to play in a primetime matchup like this with Penn State and Ohio State. ABC, 7:30 p.m. Eastern kick. In primetime fashion in a sea of red. What an unbelievably cool of team arrival. This is awesome. I hope you guys, the viewers, are enjoying this right now, because this is something that we haven't done necessarily this season on the road, but awesome views from the different cameras that we've got out here at the shoe. So much more. We're going to continue to look at these views right now as we welcome in Steve Jones, the voice of the Nittany Lions. And Steve, I know that you've been a part of Team Arrivals, both past, present, and you will be in the future as well. But what makes this one different, watching that crowd outside of here today erupt for these Nittany Lions?
Well, it was phenomenal because, look, it's exactly what everybody needs. You need to close ranks at times like this, right? And during the course of the week, they did that. The fact that these fans were out here like that, I think really reaffirmed their true fan base that's behind them.
Absolutely. Very well said. All right, this matchup tonight, 7:30 p.m. kick inside the Shoe on ABC. When you look at this matchup, we talked on Wednesday, but you being up in the broadcast booth, what's going to make the difference in your opinion?
Perfect. And I also think that big plays will be important. You have to limit Ohio State's big plays, and at the same time, Penn State has to get a couple itself. You have to then put the level of doubt into their mind because, look, they had that tough game against Oregon. They've been on an absolute roll, but they've been on an absolute roll against who? With all due respect. Penn State has played a front-loaded schedule. They're playing a back-loaded schedule. In other words, Penn State's been playing a loaded schedule.
Oh, very well said there. It's an interesting point, too, on College Game Day this morning. I think it was Kirk Herbstreit that was talking about this will be Ohio State's toughest test to date. You mentioned the Oregon game that they lost earlier in the season, but this, from a Big Ten standpoint, physicality in the trenches, let's get to our players to watch, starting with yours on the offensive side.
All right. I think after watching a couple games, Theo Johnson is going to be my guy that I'm going to look at. I think he can get maybe 4 or 5 catches in a game like this, and he can make some big plays. He gets involved in the offense. I think that could open up a lot of other areas for Penn State.
Theo Johnson, Steve Jones' player to watch in this matchup. You talked about the tight ends around the country today. Obviously, they've made some big-time plays elsewhere, not only in the Big Ten, but elsewhere around the country as well. I'm going to go with the guy that throws the ball, the Theo Johnson. The obvious pick in this matchup, quarterback Sean Clifford. And here's why. He's a native of Ohio. He's playing with that chip on his shoulder today, going up against his hometown team, if you will. He's thrown for 1,647 yards and 12 touchdowns this season. James Franklin talked about it on Wednesday. His health continues to improve as he should be close or near or at 100% for this matchup against the Ohio State Buckeyes today. The last time that Clifford went against the Buckeyes, he threw for 281 yards and 3 touchdowns. All 3 scores were caught by that guy right there, Jahan Dotson.
And I'll just say quite simply, Sean Clifford is ready.
He's ready to go.
He is ready.
This matchup, Penn State and Ohio State, 7:30 p.m. kick. You can watch it on ABC, or as always, you can listen to it with Steve Jones, Jack Ham and Company on the Penn State Sports Network. Steve, appreciate you stopping by on the Unrivaled Pregame Show at the Shoe.
All right, let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. This matchup, Penn State, Ohio State, for the 37th time in series history, kicks off at 7:30 p.m. on ABC. Appreciate Coach Trautwein joining us on the Unrivaled Pregame Show. We took a look at one of the top defensive playmakers for Penn State, and then we brought you this Team Arrival coverage that was unbelievable. Shout out to our entire crew for making this possible, from the interns to Caleb Tyler to all the people back in Happy Valley, Brooke, Connor, and company. That'll do it for this edition of the Unrivaled Pregame Show.
The first time these two teams have met.
Welcome to Columbus, partner. We get an opportunity to see speed.
Here we go.
Speed.
Yes.
And some more speed.
That's right.
What they're getting to is what everybody's been waiting.
Two of the great programs in college football.
This is setting a great classic.
This is a series that dates back to 1912.
Two of the great programs in college football.
This is what dreams are made of right here.
Deep. End zone. Goodness, look at the two teams. Let's figure this out. Who's for real? Because it's strength on strength tonight.
Barkley down the sideline. Saquon Barkley runs the opening kick. And Dobbins lost it.
Be aggressive.
aggressive. You're on the road in Columbus, take some chances.
In the corner. Touchdown, Nittany Lions.
What is the biggest factor in determining who wins this game?
Dirty Brown. Touchdown.
They're going to rally around each other the same way that they have all season long, and they're going to go out there and battle.
Gets outside. Touchdown. Nittany Lions. They'll never catch you. Welcome to college football.
A fight is not a fight until there's resistance, until there's something to overcome.
Oh, you can just start feeling it build, don't you?